Ah, man. Ravens flock. Ravens flock. Ravens flock. Ravens flock. What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? How y'all feeling? Are you guys enjoying the wild card round? Are you enjoying the chaotic mess that the wild card games have been so far? Are you enjoying the week off our team has had this week to take this time to be able to rest and recover and prepare for the division round? Did you enjoy that stress-free week? Hope you did, because this is the last stress-free week we're going to be getting. Next week, we are playing playoff football at the bank. But we got to talk about who we're going to go up against. Potentially. All right, Ravens flock. So, wild card weekend's been crazy. It's been a mixed bag. You've had 3 games that have resulted in blowouts, and you had one fantastic game that came down to the wire and showcased what playoff football is all about. You saw the Texans destroy the Browns. You saw the Chiefs handle the Dolphins in a really pathetic game. And you saw the Packers embarrass the Cowboys. Thankfully, we had one game that saved us. An amazing game at Detroit. Lions get the win 24-23. So wild card weekend was saved by that one game, at least for now. We got 2 more playoff games to see tomorrow, and at least one of them has to be good. If we get 2 blowouts, wild card weekend is going to be a dud. But I'm not here to talk about wild card weekend. I'm here to talk about the Ravens. The reason for this is because we are down to 2. Coming into wild card weekend, the Ravens had 4 potential opponents they were going to be dealing with in the divisional round. The Browns, the Dolphins, the Texans, and the Steelers. After these weekend games, we have cut it down to 2, so it's down to our last 2 combatants. Number 1, the Houston Texans. The Houston Texans had a fantastic game against the Cleveland Browns. They dominated that team in the second half and got the victory at home. CJ Stroud in his rookie playoff debut looked fantastic, had a fantastic performance, 3 touchdown passes by him, absolutely dominating that Browns defense. Meanwhile, the Texans defense, they took it to Flacco, and they made his potential last playoff game very, very gritty and nasty. He threw not 1, but 2 pick sixes on back-to-back offensive possessions for the Browns. They got dominated, they got beat badly, and the Texans cruised to the divisional round. That is our first potential opponent. Number 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers are number 2 because they haven't played yet. We don't know what's going to happen. Originally, the Steelers were supposed to take on the Bills today at 1 p.m. But due to the situation and the weather that was happening in Buffalo, they switched it to tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern Time. So we're going to have to wait a little bit longer to see who our opponent is. But the Steelers and Bills will go at it tomorrow at 4:30 Eastern to determine who's moving on to the next round and who's going to be that last wildcard team to advance from the AFC. Depending on how this situation goes on Monday, we will know who our opponent is, and we will know when we are going to play our division round playoff game. If the Bills take care of the Steelers tomorrow at 4:30, the Steelers get eliminated, and the Houston Texans will reign supreme as the next opponent we have to face off against. That will be the team we will go up against in the division round. Not only that, but if it's the Texans coming to Baltimore, we will be playing Houston, hosting them at the bank, 4:30 Eastern Time on Saturday, which means if we're going up against the Texans, we are kicking off the division round playoffs. If that ends up not being the case, let's say the Pittsburgh Steelers actually pull off the upset and beat the Buffalo Bills. If the Steelers win the game, the time completely changes. Instead of playing 4:30 Eastern Time on Saturday, we will play at 6:30 on Sunday. So if the Steelers advance, the Ravens will be hosting the Steelers for the division round at the bank Sunday night, which means we will be closing out the divisional round. Very, very interesting in terms of how the scheduling is. If we get the Texans, we kick off the division round. If we get the Steelers, we end off the divisional round. So it comes down to that. Those are your final 2 opponents. You know who it's going to be. At least you know who it could be between the Steelers and the Texans. You've played both these teams, so you have an understanding for what they do. But obviously, with the Steelers, that's a team that's gotten the best of you. They know how to play you well. That's a divisional rival, so that's going to be a tough matchup. You got to be on your A game. And with the Texans, you were able to beat them 25-9 in week 1 of the NFL season. But this team is not the same team you faced off in week 1. And C.J. Stroud certainly isn't the same quarterback you faced off against in his rookie NFL debut. That's a much better team with a quarterback that has shown strides and has straight up catapulted up to the top as one of the top tier quarterbacks in this game, just based off of his rookie year. So you will be getting a much, much, much more tougher matchup in the Houston Texans than you got in week 1. So the Ravens need to be ready no matter what. Either a tough, fierce divisional competitor in the Steelers or a tough, physical team in the Houston Texans with a quarterback on the rise. Either way, Baltimore, you are in for a tough divisional round matchup, and you got to be ready. If it's the Texans, we play Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time. If it's the Steelers, we play Sunday night, 6:30 p.m. at the bank. So we either open up the divisional round with the Texans, or we're gonna close the divisional round with the Steelers. Either way, Baltimore, you know who you're gonna face off against. Now, of course, with the way wildcard round has been going, I see a lot of fans just bothering the players on social media. Y'all need to leave Patrick Queen alone. Y'all need to leave Patrick Queen alone. Well, we watched the Cowboys embarrass themselves at home to the Packers, and all of a sudden all these people keep sending these tweets to Patrick Queen to tell the team not to do what the Cowboys have done. Make sure to get it done. Leave that man alone. Do not bother him for this. He even had to tweet about it and say, man, y'all need to leave me alone about this. Stop tweeting me about this and go watch a movie or something. Leave these players alone. I get it, Ravens flock. We are very anxious. We are very nervous. That's the overall feel. Even though me personally, I'm fine. They got no nerves. Got no concern. I have complete faith, belief, and trust in this team, and I'm not concerned about them showing up on Saturday or Sunday for the divisional game. I believe they're ready. This is a team that has constantly brought up 2019. They keep bringing up 2019. They're laser focused. They understand what they need to do. They're not trying to waste this situation that they're in. They got a great chance to potentially go to the Super Bowl, and they have to win these 2 games to book their ticket to Vegas. They know that. They're not trying to waste that opportunity. They're locked in. They're ready for this moment. And because I believe they're ready for this moment, and from what they've showed me, they're ready for this moment, I have my belief in them. So I'm not going to be overly concerned. But that doesn't mean we're going to overlook our opponent, because we know what the Steelers are capable of. They've beaten us in 7 of our last 8 matchups. We know they can come to Baltimore and win. So we can't overlook them. And C.J. Stroud, he is a made man in his rookie year. He's having the greatest rookie season we've seen by a quarterback. And right now, he is playing with house money. And that Texans defense has gotten better as the season's gone on. They've suffered through injuries, but they've gotten better as the season goes on. We cannot underestimate the Houston Texans. And we're not going to. We're not going to underestimate the Texans. And we're not going to underestimate what C.J. Stroud brings to the table, because he's that guy. So we're not looking to completely overlook any of our opponents. We're going to be ready no matter what. So that's why, me personally, I don't feel concerned. But I understand there's a lot of people that feel concerned about this, which is why they keep bothering the players. Leave these players alone. They know what they're doing. With that being said, Saturday or Sunday, no matter when we play, Ravens got to come to play. We'll be discussing this throughout the week. Obviously, I'll have to make a video tomorrow because I don't know who the opponent's going to be. And by tomorrow, we'll have an idea. As soon as the Steelers-Bills game ends, we will make a video discussing who the Ravens' opponent will be. From there, we will spend the week talking about the matchup, going through the advantages and disadvantages, who has the edge, what we need to do to handle our business. We'll go through the whole 9 yards. It should be fun throughout the week preparing for this divisional game. But for right now, we only know we have 2 potential opponents, the Steelers and the Texans. Bills win. Texans come to Baltimore for the divisional round. We'll play on Saturday, 4:30 Eastern Time. Steelers beat Bills. We'll take on the Pittsburgh Steelers Sunday night at the house. Well, at the bank, per se, but I like to say at the house sometimes. Either way, we know what it comes down to. And tomorrow, after that Bills-Steelers game, we know exactly who our opponent will be. So, stay tuned for tomorrow. With that being said, guys, that's all I got. I just wanted to make this video, especially because the wild card games have been crazy and it's just been a bunch of blowouts and some upsets. You know, people didn't think the Texans were going to beat the Browns. That's seen as an upset. And then Jordan Love going into Dallas and humiliating the Cowboys was the biggest upset of wild card weekend. So we've had a lot of crazy games so far. It's been a lot of crazy blowouts, and we finally had a great game with the Rams and the Lions. So I felt the need to talk about the Ravens' potential opponent because it's come down to two. We will find out who we will be facing in the division round after the Bills Steelers game comes to a conclusion. Until then, guys, I appreciate you stopping by. Thank you so much for watching, and that's all I got. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.